I would rather be ruled by America than Russia. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, move. Okay. Okay. Let's come to you first, son. I would rather be ruled by America than Russia. You are on the strongly disagree line. Explain to everybody why you strongly disagree.
Well, there are several reasons, but mostly for historical and philosophical reasons. So the Western states, including the United States, in the United States, the way of political thinking based on individuals and individual rights, like freedom of speech, personal freedom. But in Europe, especially in Eastern Europe and Russia, the way of thinking is completely different. So more collectivist, based more on communities and the strength of communities. I think the way of thinking and the philosophy is more compatible in Hungary with Russia for obvious historical reasons.
Okay, so I'm going to come to you. Tell us why you agree.
Okay, so I agree because I think that even though Russia is much closer and maybe more similar to Hungary, the institutions in America...
Can you hear him?
Yes.
Okay, so tell him too, yeah.
All right. So the institutions in America are much more solid. They have more checks and balances in case of corruption, which I don't think that... I don't think they work in Russia very well. So I would say that even though it's much closer, America is still better. And another thing, that American rule is more economic-centered, while Russian is more military. And even though that economical rule is still pretty bad, it's not as terrible as living under real occupation.
All right, so... I would rather be ruled by America than Russia, and you agree with this statement. Tell him why you agree.
Well, I mean, while I do agree with you that we are close...
No, why you agree with the claim.
Oh, with the claim. Okay,
yeah.
So, of course, we are free, and freedom and democracy is like the basis of like the Western civilization. And because of that, I would rather be ruled by America, or... I would say I wouldn't want to be ruled by anyone, right. But if we have to choose, then America.
You have to choose.
Yeah. And what he said also, because it's more like an economic rule, and they don't influence our politics. And while I don't especially agree with democracy, it's still better than if Russia or anyone else would force their political beliefs on us.
Okay. So So why did you not move?
Because I think there is also very important values in the West and in the East also. So I can agree that the Hungarian society, have to have values from the traditionalist Russia and from the modernist America.
What's an example of a value? 2 values from America you like. Oh, 1 value you like and don't like. 1 value from Russia you like and don't like.
I like in Russia or in the United States?
One from each that you like, and one from each that you dislike.
I like the market liberation in the US, but I don't like the absolute social liberalism, especially this wokeism and etc. But I like the conservative views from the East. This
like what?
Like the traditions, that we like, have to have our nationality and our we have to pride for our nation.
Like patriotism and sovereignty.
Yes, absolutely. But I don't like the strong authority in Russia.
Okay. So you are also neutral. Egon, yes. See, tell us why you're neutral.
Hát egyszerűen csak azért, mivel egyikkel se értek úgymond egyet. Egyszerűen
Hold on.
I'll translate for you. Okay?
Oh yeah, come over here. Come over here.
Szóval mondd nekem, én fordítom.
értem. Hát egyikkel se értek nagyon egyet, Amerikával sem Oroszországgal, nem tetszenek a vezetők sem a mentalitásuk, szóval elzárkózva vagyok mind a kettőtől.
He says he doesn't agree with neither because he doesn't like the way they rule, he doesn't like the leaders, and so he would close out both.
Okay. Anything else?
Magyarországon se szeretek lenni, szóval
He says that he doesn't even like Hungary, so that's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So this is my question to you and to you. What would he have to tell you and you to move one line over? What would he have to say to you to change your belief just a little bit?
I think that our society needs more authority, especially in the post-communist countries like Hungary, and yeah, it's Russia is next to us actually.
So what evidence could he give you specifically that would cause you to move? Like that you need more authority or authoritarianism? Like what would you have to see to make you move?
Probably if he would say that we have to, well, actually I don't know. What should I hear?
Okay, that's fair. What do you have to say to him for him to move over one line to the slightly about the authority? Can you say that with sincerity?
It's really hard, but I would pick some examples from each nation for an occupation.
Well, give him one.
For example, see American occupied nations or American influenced nations like in South America. For example, the so-called banana republics. So what base values you told just true in the United States, but not in the states influenced or ruled by the United States. So, in a theoretic way, if Hungary would ruled by the USA, the values you told would not be there also. So the US cannot completely destroy the traditional way of economical thinking of the Hungarian society.
Did you follow that? And does that convince you?
Okay, it's okay. So, are you telling me that it's more better than somebody authorized me than somebody lied to me?
Yeah, I understand you. I think the main problem is you see that mainly as an economical question. Besides, I think it's rather a cultural question than economical question. So the strong leadership and the free market are not necessary are enemies. It can both exist within one state.
Okay. What can you say to these two young men to cause them to go from neutral to slightly agree? What evidence could you give them? What could you say to cause them to move one line?
All right, so I would start by that Russia was already ruling Hungary once, and there was
How'd that work out?
And there was a reason that we didn't like it, and we changed the system literally. And another thing is that even though it is true that the banana republics, for example, didn't turn out pretty great, but America treats Europe very differently compared to South American or other or Middle Eastern states. And I would say that Hungary is or Europe is in a special place, that US influence is more characterized by soft power than actual oppression like Russia. So the way in Hungary under American rule wouldn't be too different, I think. And it's more of just an alliance like NATO, for example. And I think it would be less disruptive to our everyday lives than Russian influence. I will have to say that I am not fan of American oppression either. It's just that between these two, I would rather say that America has a little softer hands.
Right. You only have two. Okay. You might need to translate. Did you catch that? Did you understand that a little bit?
Yes.
Did he say anything that would cause you to move one?
Hát választanom kéne, akkor én...
Hold on.
Hát ha választanom kéne, akkor én is nyilván Amerikát választanám. Hát ez így a kettő közül inkább akkor Amerikát, de nem vagyok én se egyiknek se a fanja, szóval...
So he says he's not a fan of either, but if he absolutely had to choose one, then he would rather choose America.
So you absolutely have to choose one. Are you willing to move one line over? Then go ahead, move.
Okay.
So the same is with you. Mm-hmm. You absolutely have to choose one. Absolutely have to choose one. Which do you choose?
I think I will choose Russia.
Okay, so do you want to go slightly? Okay, all right. So do you have any closing thoughts or arguments for everyone over there, or anyone in particular?
Well, I have another example for you. See Europe after the Second World War. You said that South America is not a very good example because there are not many similarities with Europe. It's okay, I can agree with. You know what's the Bundeswehr, right?
Yes.
The Bundeswehr, the German army. After the Second World War, as you know, Germany was divided. Each parts, a communist and a democratic Germany. I think you, as a boy, know how exactly looked like the Second World War German army. The German army during the Second World War, like the uniforms, the vehicles, the weapons. After the Second World War, the Bundeswehr is just a representative example. The uniforms of the Bundeswehr were totally changed to American, like in color, like in form, like in every way. I don't agree with that the Soviet Union and Russia is the same, but it's another debate. While in the other Germany, the uniforms were like in the Second World War, because the Soviets, or in this debate, the Russians, let the German military to use their own military traditions, uniforms, values. And I said it's not just about military, it's just a representative example. But if you see the tolerance of the local culture after the Second World War, Russia tolerated more the local cultures more than the USA.
Well, does anybody yes.
So keep that in mind that the Americans didn't change the Western German uniforms because of indoctrination. They changed that because technologically the American uniforms were way better than the Second World War German uniforms or even the Eastern uniforms. And while Russia or the Soviet Union didn't change the army,
Better in what way? The uniforms were better. Better in what way?
So the Americans use what is it called? Multicam camo right now. I don't know what they used in the Second World War, but I do know that it was better. And so it was technological, you know, it hides the soldier better from, I don't know, airstrikes or something like that. And that way it's technologically better. That's why they changed that. And it was like a NATO basic. So all of NATO countries basically use almost the same uniforms. And while in Eastern Germany, the Russians didn't change the army, they changed the political system. And also I wanted to say to the whole disagree side that Russia rules in a kind of totalitarian way. So they say they micromanage the countries, they say everything what goes on and what doesn't go on. While America can force its will when it has something to do, then it forces its will on the countries it rules, but it isn't a totalitarian rule. So we have autonomy, we can decide what we want to do with our own country, but if there's something America wants, then we have to do that. But not all the time.
Okay. Does anybody? Because I have a last question, but does anybody have anything else they'd like to say? All right, I have a last question. So right now, think about somebody you love. Specific person. You have to put them in either the United States or Russia. Let me rephrase that. You have to imagine a Hungary ruled by United States or Russia. Where would you rather that person you love live? In a Hungary you ruled by Russia or a Hungary ruled by the United States? One word.
One word, Russia.
The US.
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 All right. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Thank you.